All right, Kiss Army, welcome to the KissFAQ Podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today. Nothing is into your head. I hope you don't do any damage. This is a Kiss-related podcast by the board, for the board. We hope that you enjoy.
So you're keen on music? Yeah!
Welcome to episode 186 of the KissFAQ Podcast. I'm your host today, Julian Gill, admin on the FAQ message board. We have issues with Lonnie's video feed, so hopefully he's not just frozen on my side of the world. I'm joined today, obviously, by St. Louis Kiss Lonnie, by 69th Blizzard Ken, and he's back, and Marcus Almighty. Gentlemen, as always, good to see you all. What Kiss news do we have to talk about? Nothing. Is there? No, there is. There is actually Kiss news this week. And who's checked out the Kiss 3D vinyl shit?
No.
Oh, yeah.
They did put out a video of it, and what is it? The 3D 12x12 kind of wall sculpture of the first Kiss album cover, and of course, Destroyer for Mark. So his Christmas present has been taken care of. And for all eternity, hanging on his wall will be a three-dimensional rendering of the Destroyer cover that he can throw darts at or set on fire.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
By an Elon Musk. What do you guys think, Lonnie?
I think it's cool. I mean, I don't need another copy of Destroyer, but considering I just bought one a couple of months ago with that red marble that they did, but it's cool. There was a Guns N' Roses one that got announced a couple weeks ago that I saw. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. But I don't know. I don't need it. But if that's your cup of tea and you want 3D vinyl to hang on the wall, you know what? Have at it. But it's not for me. But I'm sure it's for somebody.
Well, you know what? What would your significant other think about that as a housewarming gift?
Look, honey, another yeah. She had something to say. She had something to say on your Facebook thing the other day. Like, no more copies of music you already have.
Right, but everyone then sounds like Nigel. But this one is actually 3D. It goes up to...
Right.
No more.
Conversation piece.
All right, Lonnie, well, let me ask you this then about 3D vinyl. Is there any Kiss cover that you would actually like to see as a 3D product? And this is simply product questioning. This is free of charge. They don't have to send me any money for doing the work for them. Would you buy anything to stick on your wall in 3D?
Would I buy anything in 3D vinyl to stick on my wall?
Apart from a Cars cover album.
A 3D vinyl.
I don't know. I mean, in the same vein, the Destroyer one's cool. Don't get me wrong. I thought the Destroyer one looked much better than the original album cover one. Mark, it's just a vinyl. You don't have to like the music. The artwork looks good. Jesus.
Bob Ezrin didn't paint it.
Right. Ezrin did not paint it. Calm down. But in the same vein as the Destroyer one, I think a Love Gun one would look cool too if you had the Love Gun girls surrounding them as well. I think that would look cool. I wasn't impressed with the look of the original album cover on 3D vinyl. I was like, okay, like it just looks like their heads are like popping off the cover is all it really looks like. And I think if you were to do like a Dynasty or something like that, it would be kind of like the same thing. But I don't know. I don't think I'd be real excited for a Hot in the Shade 3D vinyl with a Sphinx popping off the cover or anything like that either. But if I were to buy one, Destroyer or Love Gun. And I love Revenge, but come on, it would just be like a bloody Revenge popping off there. It wouldn't be anything to get excited about. So, although I'm personally, I mean, maybe one of you guys or all three of you guys are in the market for a 3D vinyl album. It's not for me, but if I were to get one and I had any album to choose from, it would be Destroyer or Revenge. Destroyer or Love Gun, just because they're the most iconic covers that I think would work in that aspect. What do you guys think? Would you guys buy one?
I'd be totally down with Creatures. Only if it took batteries so that you could get a blue glow effect going. If it was made out of material that would be somewhat translucent and give a low blue hue, just like I think the Destroyer one should have had some effects with the flames, maybe a propane attachment that you can...
Propane attachment.
Propane.
Just so you could have flames shooting up your walls.
That's
and
safe.
Yeah, that would be like the Rhode Island thing, unfortunately, which would not be a good idea.
Indoor flames are bad.
No, I agree with you on the first album did not look as good. I think definitely Asylum should have been done for that, because that would have worked totally. And I think Animalize would be really good if they did it in like the texture, so you actually stroke it and it feels like the fur.
Don't say stroke it. Don't say stroke it on the show.
Billy Squire. Okay.
Yeah, only Billy Squire.
Okay, Ken, what do you think?
I looked at them. They're okay. I mean, the Destroyer one looks kind of cool, but I just can't see myself getting it. I do have the Knuckle Bonds figures, the Alive figures, which are cool. I like that more so. But the album, I don't know. I can't do it. It looks okay, and Creatures, yeah, might work. But beyond that, I don't think so. And I'm not going to get it. I know people will. I know they had the individual faces, those sculptures at the reunion time or whenever it was, or 98, that they had you can hang on your wall. Those were okay, but I didn't get those either. So I don't know. It's all right. I'm not going to get it though.
Okay. And Mark, okay. Obviously, you're, even if it is Ken Kelly and not a Bob, you're not interested in Destroyer. So what do you think of them, and what would you like if you were interested in something like that?
I'm not too hip on those sort of things. I agree with you guys that I think that the first one looks a little odd. I'll leave my comments to no comment with the Destroyer one. And as far as any other one, I think you're kind of right, though, Julian. I think the Creatures one would look really cool, especially if it had that kind of effect. I was thinking of the colored, the glow-in-the-dark vinyl when I first thought of this question, like to have that kind of an effect with the faces, right? Like if it kind of lit up in the dark, it'd be pretty cool to have something like that. Another one that I thought that might be kind of cool is to do a live too, with those iconic pictures of them on the front, have those done in there. That would look kind of cool, especially jeans with the whole bloodied face there. That would look pretty awesome in 3D. I would like that. But the propane idea, as cool as that idea was, I think I can see a few kids getting hurt with that. But
see a few lawsuits with that, with houses burning down.
See a few adults getting hurt with it.
But it's a cool idea. Too bad that humanity is not smart enough to deal with products like that. But I think that I'm not in the market for it. But and having the flames with the Destroyer one, as you said before, that might be a good idea, because maybe it would catch fire and destroy it. That would be all better for a Destroyer. So,
all right, I've got one last one. Crazy Nights. You get to smash the mirror yourself and smash your own Crazy Nights. That would make me feel good.
You get to break your own hand.
Yeah. All right, let's get into some of the random topics for this week's episode. And I'm going to start it off because I just troll. I do not troll. What? I trawl, not troll. There's a difference between the two. We know who the trolls are. So I just go to the board for my topics, and there, I'm pretty sure we've done an episode about it. But here's just a quick fire. What's your favorite greatest hits package?
You just stole mine.
I'm just gonna go straight out with the first one I ever purchased, and that was Double Platinum. We've said it before. We've talked about it. How those songs, for many of us, are the versions of the songs that we remember, especially if we became fans of the band later on in the 80s, because it was the one greatest hits package that was available to us at that time. So that one for me, and because it's so pretty. Come on, that Myler shit, holy crap. You just can't do packaging like that anymore. We just can't have nice stuff, because then it costs $2,000. Ken, what about you?
Yeah, I answered the poll, and I chose Double Platinum. I mean, it was, to me, it was right away like that. It's like, no, without even looking at the list, it's going to be Double Platinum, because as a classic, it has all the Kiss staple of songs on there. So, I mean, there's a few missing here and there, but man, it's just, you can't miss with that one. I mean, again, that's a great starting point for anyone who wants to start listening to Kiss and figure out who they are and what songs they are. have done in the past and where they come from. So that's the one.
All right, we're halfway there in agreement. 2 more chances for someone to be contrary. Lonnie, apart from there being too many polls or not, what do you think?
Yeah.
First of all, I think there are too many polls on the board lately. Second of all, I'm not going to agree with you guys. As much as I love double platinum,
Let's put the X. No, you're not going to go Smashes.
I'm not going Smashes, Rashes, and Hits. I'm going with an album they put out a few years ago called Kiss Gold that the record company really put out. You get basically everything, and maybe a little bit more even than what's on double platinum. Plus, you get a taste of the solo albums. You get I Was Made for Loving You.
I'm a Legend Tonight.
I'm a Legend Tonight. Nowhere to Run. Sure Know Something. Shandy. Talk to Me. You get a little deeper of some songs than you get on double platinum. As much as I love double platinum, don't get me wrong. You know, I've sung its praises before on the show. But if someone wanted or came to me and asked me, I'm in the market to buy one Kiss Greatest Hits album, what would you recommend? I would recommend that album, Kiss Gold, because it has a little bit more on it than double platinum does. Maybe it's not, it's 2 discs and it's 40 songs, whereas double platinum obviously is 20. So obviously you're going to get some more. But I think it's a better sample of what Kiss is all about, in my opinion, by going with that one. Don't get me wrong. Lonnie, I love double platinum, but I like this one better.
Lonnie, what if that person asked you if it was a vinyl that they were looking for instead?
Well, then we're on a different subject. Yeah, then we're on. Okay. Obviously, it's not on vinyl.
And that's not on vinyl, right? It's only on
but
CD.
Most people aren't as big a dorks as we are and aren't collecting vinyl. I gotta let you guys know that. Okay.
Wait, really? Damn, I'm disappointed now.
You may have a point.
But that would be my recommendation. And here, it's also not fair too, because most people don't buy CDs either. So,
that's okay. Apparently, those who don't buy CDs aren't getting much Kiss with Spotify, right?
Yeah, that's another topic on the.
I actually went to check that, and you need an account. I'm like, fuck that. I'm not giving you an account just to find out that you don't have Kiss.
Find out you don't have my favorite.
All right, Mark. Let's go to you.
You're gonna make me Wolf.
You're gonna go with Smashes for the wardrobe choices, right?
No, actually, the funny thing is something odd's happened here, because me and Lonnie are on the exact same page today here, because that was gonna be my pick as well, because for the longest time it has been double platinum. I've always loved that, and I still love it. But as of late, for the last couple of months, I've been having that CD in my car and listening to it and really enjoying it because of the things that Lonnie said, actually, because there's the solo album stuff is on there. You have some of the stuff that was on Killers too. And, there's a much wider, selection of songs than you have on double platinum. And as much as I love double platinum, and double platinum has the advantage in one sense that they have different mixes and different sort of variations of the songs on that. But I do think, though, that Gold has a better selection of songs and more, I think it's more accurate of the whole, career, because for double platinum, it stops at a certain point, right? So I think Gold is definitely the way.
Which can be a good thing. You have to remember.
Which can be a good thing. You're exactly right. Some people might be saying, yeah, but you get it. I Was Made for Loving You and Shandy and World Without Heroes. It's not a good thing. People might be saying that. So.
Yeah, but I mean, both of you guys made sense. I mean, Lonnie and Mark are absolutely right. Yeah, there's more on Gold, and Gold's actually one of the better packages. But I say this, at least Ken and I had an emotional attachment to, double platinum. For me, it was my first one, and it would have been your first one back at the day anyway. I mean, God, you would have been actually
first of that. Yeah. It was my second purchase, I think.
You would have been buying something when the Miler was, shiny and actually in stores. So. For me, it's just because of where it fits into my catalog and my experience of it. That's why it's good. I mean, I could also go with Smashes because that one fits in with my personal story, and I was living in Singapore at the time, and I was actually able to get that album out there. and I played the hell out of it, even though I want to vomit every time I hear "Let's Put the X" these days, But back then, so it's nice to have those stories. But you could easily go with Icons. I mean, how many songs does that have? I mean,
that's great too.
Yeah, that's like 60. They do have some good packages that they put out. I know on iTunes that they've put out the discoveries. There's like 15 something. It's 3 different digital sets, and you can get the 45 discoveries. So they're great packages. It's just down to what are people looking for. Sadly, I think most people who are looking for them could easily buy one of those goddamn Canadian ones that have 7 songs on it, the Legends. It's really it's like the best of the best of the best. So it's only 7 songs left now. So most of them just want to hear Beth, Detroit Rock City, Rock and Roll All Night, Calling Dr. Love, and everything else is just filler for the majority of punters who'd be buying a greatest hits package.
The one thing that's good about that the gold version, I have that with the. It came with an extra DVD in it. With the exposed DVD was part of the package too of the thing. And that was cool. I mean, if you're going to get something, you want some video and it shows some classic, Kiss concert, live.
I have a rare copy of that though, because mine came without exposed. I opened it up when I got it, and it had the 2 CDs, and there was no exposed.
Yeah, same here.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
You sure it was supposed to come with exposed? Was it supposed to
because they were too physically.
It was supposed to, but it was an empty case.
They were a special edition, right?
Yeah, they were totally different. The Sound and Vision one came out the year before, or before the actual gold, just double CD, because they had a series of sets that came out that year that was gold, sound plus vision, and they packaged up all their leftover copies. Apparently, they ran out of copies of Exposed for Lonnie, so you just got the other stuff. But I have both copies, the audio and the visual one. And the visual one, you open it up, and there's a spot where Exposed is supposed to be, and it wasn't in there. Oh, it was in mine. The one I still want to.
I
want to find the one of those that is the actual CD sized, because they reissued that later.
Exposed here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have the CD sized one, not that one.
I have that one, and where Exposed is supposed to be, it's not.
Those people, we really are going in depth on Kiss. Gold, sound, and vision.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep, mine was empty.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Nice.
And you've never been the same since. All right, moving on.
Okay.
We were split on that one. Gold for 2 of us and double platinum for the other. So it's all metallic. Maybe if they put out Kiss Diamonds, we'll like that one even better. All right, let's get into one of Ken's topics and. Vault cancellations. There have been a few in the past week, which is a real bummer to those people who had signed up to buy. What I'm going to say on vault cancellations is that none of us are privy to the inner machinations or working of Rhino and Gene as a business. As a business is a business. So businesses exist to make money. That's where I'm going to leave that. What I'm going to say is, if you are on the fence about buying a vault, I'm doing an experience, I would get off the fence and actually run your credit card through that machine to get those events booked. Don't be getting bitchy that they get canceled if you've been sitting on the fence waiting to see what happens. Because if you waited to see what happened, well, yeah, it got canceled because you didn't run your credit card. If you had ran your credit card, maybe it would still be on. So, I understand that some people are saving up, some people have to finance. Just get on it. When these events get announced, they're probably waiting to see what happens. And if nothing happens, no, or not enough, then unfortunately, business being business, they're not going to make a special trip just because you're a very special person. Just accept that. They need more than one very special person, or 2, and we don't know what the numbers are. Ken, what do you think about the cancellation? What's going on? Do you think they're handling it as best they can? And is less information more information in this case?
I don't know. They don't say exactly why they're being canceled. I assume it's because of
scheduling issues.
Scheduling issues.
They were unable to schedule time with your wallet.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a lack of sales, like what we're probably thinking. Since, like, what is it? San Francisco, right? Someone said that was canceled. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and I didn't see any emails being posted about that, like they had with
Right.
New Orleans, and I think Portland, or I'm not sure which one it is. I don't want to put out incorrect information, but they had posted a message that they'd received from the customer service apologizing and offering an option of going to another event somewhere else or receiving a refund. So I didn't see that for San Francisco. It did drop off the purchase site, as did some other dates. So
Yeah, so, like you and me, Julian, we went, right when LA was available, that was the closest one at that time. They didn't post to San Francisco when they all went on sale. The closest was LA, so we just, on the first day,
there was Vegas, or there was LA for us, and I didn't
Right.
want to fly. I wanted to drive,
Yeah.
so I had no choice. I think I said that I wanted to make sure I did the first event, just in case it
Right.
changed, and in case anything happened. So it was easier for us. For those people who
Yeah.
bought and have had rescheduling, have had changes. I feel bad for them, but just remember that business is business.
Though I did find it interesting that they did have a LA too at the end of the whole thing. He's doing another LA.
Yeah,
The end.
what a shame. I mean, if it was a different 11 discs, I'd do it, but as I've already done it, I won't.
Yeah.
I'm not,
Yeah.
I have no need. I would, if I was going to be in LA, I would, happily go and report on it as someone's +1.
Yeah.
But, in terms of doing another, I just don't have the need.
Yeah.
Lonnie, what do you think about the cancellations and whatnot?
No.
Has your dream of doing another vault gone up in smoke, or
It's business, and there's costs involved to do these. They have to fly Gene in. They have to put Gene up in a hotel room the night before, probably the night before the event and the night of the event. 2 nights at least in a hotel. Flying in, there's Keith as well. Renting the space for the event too. It all costs money. And if there aren't enough vaults sold to cover expenses, well, then they're not just going to do it because it's going to be a fun weekend. They have to make money off these events every weekend, or they're just simply not going to do them. I mean, I know Gene's spiel when the vaults went on sale was that, I'm doing this for the fans, to give back to the fans, because without the fans, I'm nothing. But at the same time, Rhino and Gene are saying, if we're not making money doing these this weekend, I'm not doing this to go lose some money this weekend. We're going to be profitable, or we're not going to do it. I'd rather sit at home and make nothing than go to this event and lose money. So it is a business, and I get it. So is it inconvenient for some people? Sure. Maybe they announced too many events, and they should have, done fewer events. I was surprised when they announced all those other events a couple months ago, whatever it was, that they were doing a Denver and a Seattle and a Portland and all these other ones. I was like, oh wow, maybe it's doing better than expected. But I think maybe they announced too many more events, because you have to make money doing this, or they're not going to do it. If Kiss was going to go out on tour and they weren't making money, you know what they would do? They'd pull the plug on the tour. Because we're not going to keep playing shows every night and keep losing money. If you run a business, you're not going to go and keep doing what you're doing and keep losing money. Well, this person bought this. Well, we're going to do it, even though we're going to lose money on this job. No, you're not going to do that. So that's all it is. It comes down to. If they want to call it scheduling conflicts, fine, but you can't lose money.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Paul's been looking at the schedule of vaults and telling Gene, well, we got Kiss stuff planned that day. So you got to cancel it, Gene. Got Kiss stuff going. Mark, what's your thoughts on the vault?
Well, I agree with pretty much everything everyone's been saying about it. The only thing that I was kind of wondering about from the very beginning of this whole thing is, why didn't they, or maybe I'm wrong, maybe they did do this, you guys could answer this, but did they ever post on the site that if there was not a bare minimum amount of X amount sold, that the thing would be canceled? Because I would get the feeling that if people kind of knew that, that it would be dependent on that, maybe more people might have went ahead and did it, maybe, who knows? Because, I kind of get the feeling that, that's what's happening now, is that maybe there just isn't enough people in those cities ordering it, so obviously he's not going to come there and do it, right? Just like you guys said, it's business. You're not going to go and lose a ton of money on it if only 5 people in that city ordered it, and it's quite possible that after how long has this been running now? Almost half a year, maybe. So maybe it's plateaued. Maybe it's hit its, peak as far as sales for this vault. So maybe there's going to be not as many events coming up now because not as many people are into it. There's a new tour coming up that people are starting to get talking about. A 2000, big world tour coming up. So maybe people's attentions are being diverted from the vault now to something else, and it's starting to tinker off the sales there.
It's not a cheap item. It's not a cheap item, and it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
So, not everyone's going to buy one. I know that when Kiss is going to go tour the next summer or whenever, and they do the platinum experience or VIP experience, whatever you want to call it, and people are going to spend $1,200 to do that. Well, they're getting, I think it's, that's expensive too. And they can see, like, when we go to these cities, we sell 300-400, some, maybe 100, 200, I don't know how many meet and greet packages. Well, I can sell this vault for $2,000. Well, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different in ball game that, people want to meet the band in makeup. And it's still not as expensive either. So
yeah, and it's not one person either. And like I said, I mean, if you think about it, most of these people want to see Kiss, the whole band, not just one person. So, and I don't know if it was you who said this, Julian, or somebody else on another Kiss podcast, but they said, that the tour is coming up and to start saving your money because there's going to be a lot of stuff probably available, and maybe people start taking this to heart. Maybe they're saying, okay, well, you know what? I'm not going to put $2,000 in a vault knowing that Kiss is going to go on tour now. I'm going to start saving up my money for what could be coming with this, big tour coming up.
Yeah, and you might even be able to get leftover vaults during the tour because, if they're on tour. I mean, Gene Simmons. Imagine doing a Gene Simmons vault experience with 2 people. The 2 people wanted one in a city. You'd think that would be possible, and that Gene could possibly do it in makeup. Depending on when it occurs. So there are possibilities, or maybe not. Just how it would slot in. I'm sure he could do an hour's worth of meet and greets on his own without interfering with Kiss business.
I'm sure if someone wanted one, he could accommodate.
Yeah, you know what? He accommodated someone in Indy, didn't he? Because those pictures have been posted on Facebook that there was a one-on-one vault delivery. So if it's convenient, if it's fiscally reasonable, I wouldn't doubt that many things can happen. It's just like when LA was announced. I mean, how many of us from the Bay Area went down? I mean, the first 3 people in line were all from the Bay Area. So. The LA people are still asleep, but we're like camped out at Capitol Records. No, it was just one of those things. So then it's kind of a double-edged sword that we did so many podcast episodes. Kind of singing the praises of the experience and all that. There may not have been enough people left for San Francisco. That certainly is what it appears. But the excuse used obviously is scheduling issues. Who knows what that means? That could be euphemism for so many different things. It could be Paul Stanley. It could be you guys didn't buy enough. But I think it was me who said they should have threatened people that from the gate, saying that if enough are not sold for an event, that the event will be canceled, because that was never kind of the axe hanging over people to get them off the damn fence. And I think some may have been waiting for leaks, which have been. Sorry, not happening. So it's
I'm actually surprised about that, to be honest with you. Not that I'm glad that it hasn't happened, but I'm actually very surprised that it hasn't leaked out, because you'd think there'd be some schmo who would go and do it, but I'm very pleased to see that this is one thing that's being kept under wraps very well.
Surprisingly so, that you can't go on YouTube and hear shit and even have it deleted. So that's how it should be. But, we're nearly 7 months into the year. So, well, let's leave that one where it is. It's disappointing, I know, for those people who have purchased, who have heard us go on and on and on about how much fun we had at experiences, whether we were there as a +1, as a umbrella fetcher, or as as a purchaser.
We all have our column.
Still love it loud? So do we. Rockin' Pod returns to Nashville on Saturday, August 25th. Over 25 rock podcasts from all over North America, recording on-site. Vinyl and memorabilia dealers selling the best in rock merchandise. And awesome rock musicians and personalities participating in signing sessions and on-stage panel discussions throughout the day. Special guests include current and former members of Korn, Kiss, Angel, Winger, Loudness, Accept, Bang Tango, King Tracy, as well as producers that have worked with Slayer, Ozzy, Alice Cooper, Sevendust, and many more. More guests being added weekly. Don't miss your chance to be part of an awesome celebration of all things rock. Rockin' Pod takes place at the legendary Nashville Palace, August 25th, 2018. More details available at rockinpod.com. That's ROCKNPOD.com. The Nashville Rockin' Pod Expo. Brought to you by Blind Tiger Record Club, School of Rock Nashville, and School of Rock Franklin, a DBG Productions event.
Yep, we do. All right, so Ken, why don't you get in there with one of your questions?
Well, one of the questions was, I don't know, I was thinking, goes a while back, about kind of a album comparison, which album you like better. And I thought a good album to go against another album would be Love Gun versus Asylum. Just thinking about a couple of the guys here who love Asylum so much. What's your take on it, and you know, which is better? Which do you like better, and you know, what are the reasons why?
I'm going to let Mark start with that one.
Well, I'm going to say without any hesitation whatsoever that I will pick Asylum every day of the week over Love Gun. Mainly because of the fact that, like we said before, sometimes you have attachments to certain albums and different things, right? And that album was presented to me, or I listened to it at a time when it was very early in my Kiss listening experience. So it really stuck on me. And because of the fact that also Much Music was such a big thing going on at the time in Canada, there was a lot of Asylum footage being played on TV a lot. They were playing, Tears Are Falling a lot. They even played, Who Wants to Be Lonely quite a lot on Much Music. That video, I think, was played almost more than Tears Are Falling, to be quite honest. And even once in a while, later on in the evenings, they would put on All Night on there. I remember that being on quite a few times in the evenings. And, I like that album from beginning to end. I don't think that there's really too much bad on there on that record. And not to say that Love Gun is a bad record, but there's more things on Love Gun that I don't like, to be honest with you. I mean, Tomorrow and Tonight is not very good, even some of the other songs on there. I mean, I don't know. Like, I like Plaster Caster, but to be honest, I like Plaster Caster better on Unplugged than I do on the studio album version, So to me, everything about Asylum, I like more than Love Gun. Maybe just the cover I think is better on Love Gun than the Asylum. But musically, I think that's one of Paul Stanley's gems that he can hold up proudly and say, this is an album that I produced, and I think he did a great job on it.
Mark, I think you've made some new friends with our listeners today. I wish you the best of luck. Lonnie, how about you?
I completely disagree with almost everything Mark just said.
No, you don't. Come on.
Yes, I do.
And that was Lonnie's mic drop.
Love Gun has I Stole Your Love, Love Gun, obviously. The debut vocals of Ace Frehley doing Shock Me. Plaster Caster, Almost Human. It's laughable that you like Asylum more than you like Love Gun.
Those are weak songs, Almost Human and Plaster Caster.
Oh, okay. Because Trial by Fire and
come on, King of the Mountain.
King of the Mountain's fine.
Great song.
It's fine. Okay, first song off of King of the Mountain or I Stole Your Love.
King of the Mountain.
No, so that's the wrong answer.
I like it better. Come on, it's got superior drumming on it. It's got great lead playing in it. It's got Paul Stanley's excellent singing on it. I like I Stole Your Love. Don't get me wrong. I do love that song a lot. But in terms of, it's also maybe because of the time period too. In the 80s, that's the kind of playing that was really hip and happening, that whole kind of flashy kind of playing. And, and that was also kind of the product of that time as well, right? So I kind of attached myself to that as well, right?
Julian's moved on. No, I mean, Love Gun is a classic Kiss record, and
yes.
it has the sound on it that makes most people Kiss fans. It's the classic lineup: Gene, Ace, Paul, and Peter. It has a lot of great songs on it, and I forgot how much I like Almost Human and how much I like Love for Sale until I saw Gene live last year, and he played those two songs off that album. This is great. It's a shame that Kiss never did those songs and gave them their proper treatment, because they are great songs, and I will choose Love Gun every day of the week over Asylum. And I don't hate Asylum by any means, but when you're putting Asylum up against one of those classic 6 original Kiss albums, there's not much that's going to beat one of those classic 6 albums if you put another Kiss album up against them.
Well,
Except
I'll still disagree with that, because I think Asylum is much better than Hotter Than Hell too, even sonically and every other way. But look, it just depends also on, I think, the time period too, right? If you ask somebody who got into Kiss in the 80s, right, it's quite possible that could have been one of the records that got them into it. Like Lick It Up could be a record that got people into Kiss in the 80s. And it's possible that did, and believe it or not, maybe even somebody got into Kiss listening to Crazy Nights, But, back in the 70s, there's no doubt that people got into Kiss with Love Gun and Destroyer and stuff like that.
Julian, what are your thoughts on the topic?
I'm staying away from this one. Yeah, obviously, mailman just arrived, so I have some shit to look through. Love Gun. Asylum made me a Kiss fan. But come on, I haven't drunk enough of any Kool-Aid to put it above any of the originals' albums. Without Love Gun, you don't get Asylum. Yeah, there's a couple of stinkers on Love Gun, but come on, at least they're classic stinkers. So I couldn't possibly go with Asylum, even though without it, I wouldn't be here on this podcast. God knows what I'd be listening to. Probably still I'd be doing the Duran Duran FAQ. Who
Nice.
knows? So, no, as much as it's an integral part of my life, and as much as I am more likely to listen to Asylum more than Love Gun is the better album. Love Gun is the more important album. There is really no comparison between the two, because you're talking about a legendary, iconic part of the band's history. Obviously, Make Up Kiss trumps everything else, sadly, but that's just reality for me. No one's going to call me an idiot, say I'm wrong.
No.
You can't.
No, because it's all opinion. So it's not right or wrong.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing that really sucks about this mail call is when you open up your package and some fucking Poison set lists drop out.
Nice.
I fucking hate
nice.
Poison so much. I guess from the guy who did the lighting, had little cue cards for his lighting shit, but fuck those. Those can go straight back up on eBay. All right, let's move on to another question.
Ken, what about Ken's opinion?
I can't hear Ken. He's muted.
Yeah, Ken, turn off your mute.
You can hear my opinion?
There you go.
Okay.
There we go. All right, Ken, what's your opinion?
Well, yeah, well, Love Gun is going to be, win over Asylum for me, at least. Definitely, because I guess I came in on that era around that same year into Kiss. Plus, I Stole Your Love versus, Rise to It. Rise to It's a great song, no doubt. It's a very good song. But I got to go with, I Stole Your Love over that. And
Rise to It on Hot in the Shade.
Well, on the shade. The other ones, like, I'm sorry, you're right. Rise to It is on. I don't know why I'm thinking of that. But anyway, scratch that. But let's go to thanks for King of the Mountain. Sorry,
That's it.
I get those mixed up, I guess, for some reason. But otherwise, the Gene songs are much better on Love Gun versus work on Asylum. I mean, I agree with Lonnie. I mean, Christine 16, while it's poppy and everything, and it was a good song in its day and on the radio. And that was one of my favorite songs at that time when I was first getting into them. So, I got Love for Sale and then the two other Gene songs. So, and the Paul Stanley's was, most of them good. Tomorrow and Tonight, like you said, Mark. Yeah, I could probably take or leave it, but it's still okay. And of course, Ace, shocked me. There's no Ace on Asylum. Which would have been pretty cool if he was on there. And then, yes, they did the cover song on the end of the album of Love Gun, and that was I have to agree with you. I mean that's the stinker there. But even though there's that one stinker, it's still, I think, it's the better of two albums. So.
Okay, well.
There you have it.
I would actually, there are a couple solos on Asylum that I would love to hear Ace do his kind of version of. That would be kind of interesting, but it would be totally disrespectful to Bruce. So, there we go. All right. Who's got a question? Who's got a topic?
I got
Lonnie.
There's a thread on the board right now, and
I'm sorry.
I'm curious to hear what you guys' thoughts on this. What's the most overrated Kiss song of all time?
Oof.
I think we should definitely start with Mark on that one.
Mark had the best reaction, so let's...
No,
here it comes.
Pick a song from the story.
Well, it's either Shout It Out Loud, Beth, or Do You Love Me, or God, I hate King of the Nighttime World, too.
No, okay, and it's funny because as soon as you said that, Lonnie, when you said what was the most overrated Kiss song of all time, the one that instantly popped into my head right away, and I know I'm probably gonna get egged for saying this, is Rock and Roll Night Party Every Day. I think that to me is the one song that I think has had so much legs through the years. It's been played constantly all the time, and I understand it was the song that probably broke them on radio and got them attention early on. But I think for what they released afterwards, or even before that, I think they had stronger songs than that on record for sure.
Well, is it the most overrated, or is it the one you're just most tired of hearing?
Well, I think it's probably a bit of both, actually, to be quite honest. I think it's not as good a song. It really is just a 12-bar blues song with Kiss singing it, basically. I mean, it's if you could have given that song to George Thorogood, you could have given that song to BTO, you could have given that song to anybody, and they probably could have made a decent song out of it. But because Kiss sang it and they put their stamp lyrically on it and vocally, it became the song that it is, right? And I don't think it's a terrible song, but I just like I said, it's not for the amount of legs that it's gotten and the amount of radio play it's gotten. I think that there are songs that better deserved it, so I think it's a little overrated in my opinion.
Okay, let us move on to the voice of reason.
You're muted.
You're muted.
I'm so sorry. I keep hitting that button. Voice of reason can't do it because he's been muted. So I understand Mark's, that thing is, Kiss, National Anthem, all that stuff. And so I'm okay with his choice. But my choice is Beth as the overrated song. I never understood it. I never got it. I mean, it's a nice little song, nice little melody.
Why do you hate Peter Criss?
I don't hate Peter Criss. I love Dirty Living. I love Dirty Living. So, but I just never, I first played that album, Destroyer. That's the song that it just didn't fit for me on that album. It just never fit. I just didn't get it. Again, it's an okay song. I don't hate the song. I just think it's way overrated. It's like, they're one of their biggest hits, which it was a big hit. I got to give you that. But I just couldn't. I don't get it. If people love that song to death, I don't get it. And that's the one.
Okay, Lonnie.
Now I'll be muted again.
turn your mute back on. A song in the same vein that I don't get is I Was Made for Loving You. I never got it. I know probably a lot of Kiss fans probably say I never got it because it was received well by some and not well by others. I wasn't around. I think I was an infant when I Was Made for Loving You was released, obviously. But when I think about it, is that you had such momentum with what you did with the first 6 records, and why you would go and record that song to be the lead single off the return of Kiss. I don't understand that. I like the rest of Dynasty, but I'm not a fan of that song and why they went that direction for that song. And the sad thing is that Dynasty gets the label as being the Kiss disco album because of that song, when there's a lot of really great stuff on Dynasty. But that song, I think, that's when Kiss was doing whatever, and they were super Kiss, and listen to that song. It's a snapshot of what's on that whole album. So that's the song I don't get. Not only don't get, but I think it's a very overrated song that, I guess, especially overseas, it's popular, and they still do it when they play overseas. And I'll be interested to see this weekend if they play I Was Made for Loving You. I hope not in Portugal and Spain. But that to me is the most overrated Kiss song. I Was Made for Loving You, because it's just not my thing.
They have to play it there. They have no choice.
I know. They probably will.
They have to.
Why? It's in the contract?
It's Europe.
That's what I mean. I'm sure they'll do it. They always do it in Europe.
They probably will. Lonnie, we did that recently. That we did that 79-80 deal with, and I remember saying back then, I think it was on that, I was saying that song, I Was Made for Loving You, should have ended the album. Should have been the last song on Dynasty, and it should have been not the first single. That's when I said Charisma should have been the first single off of that album. Yeah, I mean, someone buying that album who's expecting a Kiss fan who's expecting the real hard stuff, and then they put on, and the first thing that is on there is I Was Made for Loving You. Is like, oh, what the heck? What happened? So that's when I said, yeah, it should just put it on the end and say, yeah, we can do it. Other artists can do disco stuff. Yeah, we can do it too. But we don't need to start off our album as a rock band with a disco song. It just doesn't make sense.
Like how they ended Love Gun with Then She Kissed Me. Yeah, we could do something like that too.
Exactly.
Then put it at the end. If you want to record that kind of song, but then put it at the end and put it on the B-side of something. Not be the lead single and the lead track off your new album. I agree.
What about you, Julian?
Well, like a politician, I've been squirming.
He's changed his answer in his mind a couple times already.
Yeah, it's like I think either way, you're just going to be abused for suggesting that any Kiss song is overrated, because we're not supposed to ever think along those lines. However, that being said, what is one of my least favorite songs? One that most of my fellow fans seem to love. And yes, admittedly, this may be a case of 80 fans-itis. Shout It Out Loud, to me, was really one of the earliest attempts to replicate the anthemic nature of Rock and Roll All Night and fall well short of recapturing that magic. Even songs like Flaming Youth on that album are more anthemic and kind of grittier because it's got the subject matter, of saying, I'm stupid and I'm lazy. Man, if they only knew. That's that one makes sense because you're like, yeah, man, I am stupid. I am lazy.
You're talking about me.
Yeah. Where Shout It Out Loud is just one of those happy, crappy songs that, yeah, it's a fun part of the show. It's been an important part of the show, but I could do without that one. I just don't get why it's so important to everyone, and maybe it's because I wasn't there in 1976. Maybe it's because I lack the context. Maybe it's because I have no taste or I'm a moron. It could be any of or all of the above, and I don't like it. I think it's incredibly overrated. I would rather it just be an album track that wasn't in every goddamn show I've ever been to by the band. Give me something else. Anything. But it was the first one in a long line of weak attempts to replicate Rock and Roll All Night. Tomorrow and Tonight is, of course, one of the other most egregious examples, but it was never rated anyway, so it can't be
not
overrated. But it's it never was a contender. So after much thinking and having everyone else go before me, that's all I could come up with, and I'm just going to leave that one there. Mark, you got a topic for us? Got a thought?
Anything.
And if not, I'll go with, what if Kiss went the surprise album route, and that is stolen straight off the board. That some acts recently have been dropping albums without any notice and surprising their fans with them. Do you think Kiss number one would be capable of people shutting up and not letting out that they were about to drop an album? Would you like it if they were going to? I actually would. I would love them just to drop in a First, Last, and Forever album, as their final album. Just throw together a few new songs, pick the first demo and finally put it out in its entirety. So that's your first part of it. Your Forever's the last songs they ever record, and then some of their favorite ones. So it's like greatest hits, first shit, and last shit, and that's your surprise. And surprise.
Since they already used First Kiss, Last Lick, so they had to use the other title you gave.
Well, that was my idea. They can't use it.
He's already copyrighted
it. No, as for an album, if they dropped one, that'd be, hey, come on, go ahead and do it. I'd be happy to see that. But are they going to do that? Will they do that? There's no way in hell they're going to do that. Really.
Now that Gene magically has all these scheduling issues, you never know.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Well,
Paul Stanley all decides, let's do an
It's up to one guy.
Yeah.
But that would be very interesting. Obviously it's not going to happen, but with the amount of quiet downtime that Kiss has had this year, if it did happen, which I'm sure it's not going to, but if it did happen, on one hand, I don't think I'd be too surprised because of how quiet it's been on the Kiss front. Very rarely has that happened, but there's been a few times, I think, in music history where a band's gone really off the radar and then suddenly just, boom, popped back out with a record and surprised their fans. I know that, not that they're a band that I really like too much, but I know the Red Hot Chili Peppers did something like that a long time ago where they disappeared from sight and then came back with a record that just totally surprised them. Nobody even knew that they were even going to plan on doing another record. So if Kiss were to do something like that, I would be all for it. It's probably not going to happen, obviously, but even if they were to do a single, I think we talked about that last week, wasn't it? How Motley Crue did at least a single for their last run through there, and at least put something out as a farewell product, so to speak. So I think Kiss, for all the times that I've been on this podcast and have been put in the light of the guy who's always bad-mouthing Kiss, I think that Kiss still has a lot left in them musically and can write some good Kiss material still. Why they're not at least putting out a new single or something it's sad, I think, because I think that they can still write decent material. Sure, Paul has his problems, but technology is there to help him in that situation. So you could at least get a decent recorded product out. Sure, live is a different thing, but they're willing to go and do that for 3 years apparently. So why can't they just go into a studio and knock out a song or two, and put something new out there to make the fans excited?
Yeah, Paul's had plenty of time to record a Kiss album under the radar. It's not like he needs Gene for it while he's off doing his vaults. I mean, shit. How many times has Gene not played bass on albums? So as long as he's got Tommy and Eric,
too.
They've recorded plenty of albums with Kiss albums without Gene being there. So
yeah, he might just say, since you're out there flogging your demos, you're not sure as hell aren't coming to an album session to bring those demos back in for yet another chance of recycling them. So we went ahead and did the album. We'll give you the songwriting credits on these 3 songs, and there you go, Gene. Just smile, take the picture. Be on the album cover. Lonnie, what do you think?
I would love it if on a Friday morning I woke up and there was a new Kiss album to buy on iTunes or on Amazon. I would absolutely love it.
Greatest
I don't
hit 16.
See it. Yeah, sure. The greatest hits, double gold, whatever. But I'd be excited. I kind of like Julian's idea of, just take the first 5-song demo from Eddie Kramer, package it with a 5-song EP, and put it together on a single disc. Here you go. These are our first things we ever recorded, and the last things we're ever going to record in a studio. Here they are, 5 and 5, and be done with it. I think it'd be fantastic. I would eat it up. I know Kiss fans would, but do I see them doing it? No, I don't. Unfortunately, I think we've seen our last Kiss album at this point, and that's kind of sad because I would love to see more. But I think it goes back to the same thing we were discussing with the Vault: is if they're not going to be profitable in doing something, I think they have very little interest in doing it. And judging from the sales of Sonic Boom and Monster did not live up to the expectations that they wanted to. I think that 6 years later now, they don't have an interest in doing it. And it's sad. It's been 6 years since Monster came out. So I don't see them doing it, but I wish they would.
For them, though, I don't think they ever look at the reality of the music business as it is, and look at what Aerosmith did with its last album, what many now legacy acts are doing with each album. They're unable to put themselves next to those numbers, even though in terms of their catalog, they were never near the numbers of those competitors. I mean, come on, they never sold anything near what Aerosmith pushed in the 80s. So it's almost a fake argument in some ways. It's not worth recording music. Well, it's still worth recording music to all these other bands that are recording music. Come on, Quiet Riot still puts out albums. Mm-hmm. And their mouth has been dead for years. I mean, Kingdom Come, Rat has put out albums. It's very disappointing in the fact that they really just have become... I don't want to call them lazy because they do work hard, but they have become unmotivated and have forgotten... Uninspired, unmotivated, and have fallen into a trap of just using the same argument. Well, no one buys it. Well, if you don't make it, no one has anything to buy. Don't you have any sense of creativity?
Exactly.
If there's no creativity, why is Gene ripping all these gems out to do with his solo band? He can't simply say it's because they're making me, because otherwise he wouldn't be printing out the lyrics to it and caring about getting it right. So that one doesn't work. Paul Stanley has obviously still got very great creative outlets that he wants to pursue. Well, what's the difference between art? Can he come out and say, art is what fulfills me now, music doesn't? I've done that. I'm getting my kicks out of designing stuff for jewelry, and I'm enjoying painting. If he was to come out and say that, I would have a lot more respect for the band not putting out new music, because at least he would say that this is why I'm not, rather than suggesting in one interview, well, maybe I am, and then in the other one, well, maybe I'm not. Yeah. It's like, that's yanking our chains to a certain extent.
And the funny thing is that one band that I think is a excellent example of this topic is, for example, Iron Maiden. They're putting out albums still, and while maybe their records that they put out now, or the last couple that they put out, don't match the numbers of, let's say, a Piece of Mind or a Power Slave, that to them is irrelevant, because to them, and I've heard Steve Harris say this numerous times, he's a musician, he writes songs that's what he does. He's a songwriter. You know, Nikki Sixx said the same thing. It doesn't matter to him, you know, about that whole end of it. He's a writer and he's a musician, and that's what he does, and that's what he always wants to do. So I understand it from that aspect. But I mean, you know, look at the last record that they did, the Book of Souls. I know it didn't sell nearly as much as their prior stuff, but I loved it. It was a great record. It showed that they have lots to still, you know, they have a lot of energy still left and a lot of ideas in the old noodle there for songs. And you know what? They show this a little bit differently than Kiss, I think, because to them, the idea of touring behind nothing to them is kind of a non-starter. They always seem to kind of like touring behind a record, always have, you know. Even if they have done a couple of tours where they've done, you know, some greatest hits kinds of style tours, but never more than maybe one or two and then do a record. You know what I mean? There's always been a record somewhere down that line. And I think that, you know, it's what Julian said. They're just not motivated. They're not inspired to maybe make a record. And that's a shame because lots of these bands like an Iron Maiden still find the inspiration, you know, even though they're not making the same numbers. That doesn't seem to unmotivate them. They still want to go and make a recording and get out there and go back on tour.
But Iron Maiden's a completely different kind of beast, because if you look at these greatest hits tours that they do in between their album tours, is that they're very thematic in their nature. So they resurrect Somewhere in Time, for instance, and build their greatest hits around that. They rebuilt whatever the one was, Seventh Son for, you know, the reissue of that. This year they're out there, they've got the Aces High, but they're also doing Sign of the Cross and the Klansman, I think. So they're doing Blaze era stuff again, which I always love when they mix that in. So they have a completely different approach to how they intersperse their experimentation. I mean, come on, they do 19-minute songs, you know, Empire of the Clouds on Book of Souls, you know, so they're not afraid to really stretch out there, but they're not really going far from what you expect from Iron Maiden. The songs may be longer, but they're still about the same sorts of themes. They're historic, they're kind of proggy, they're just getting longer rather than their 3-minute songs. Kiss, on the other hand, doesn't have all these different realms to go to. Whenever they've stepped outside of what they've supposed to do, whether it's Crazy Nights or Carnival of Souls or, you know, well, those two, or The Elder, you know, it's not been a good result for them. So they're very adverse to stepping away and saying, okay, we're going to go out and celebrate Lick It Up, or we're going to go out and celebrate Animalize. The only things they're capable of celebrating, it seems, are Destroyer or Alive, which isn't a bad thing, but in terms of creativity, they're never really stretching themselves to relearn parts of their catalog, to have Tommy try and do Vinny stuff more often, or to do Ace stuff that Ace never did. They never seem to want to stretch themselves. Instead, they seem to want to do the very least possible in many ways.
Easy route.
And maybe that's unfair. Again, we don't know what it's like to be them. And now pushing 70,
Well,
I would expect them to do everything as easy as possible.
I mean, look at Alice Cooper. I mean, he's still releasing albums and touring. Maybe he's more in the club or smaller kind of arenas, unless he's with another big act, then he can go into bigger things, or, you know, whatever, sheds. But he put out albums and tour behind them,
and record with former members as well.
Oh yeah. So geez, why can't
he's
why
not
can't
opposed to
Kiss
doing
do
that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, there we go. On that high note, we're going to bring this episode to an end. I was just going through my package. I wonder if these still work. Crew passes for Hysteria Tour.
See how far those will take you.
I've got about 15 of them, so I'm just going to stick them all over myself and go in. see what say.
Yeah,
All right, there we are. So we've tackled a whole bunch of quick questions today on this episode. You know, why don't you chime in on the ones that you pick and choose, the ones that you want to comment on, whether you follow us on Facebook, on YouTube, or on the KissFAQ itself. You know, there's a whole bunch of these sorts of things, and they're fun to address. So that's it for this week. For now, from Ken, from Lonnie, from Mark, and myself, goodbye, and we will see you next time. Thanks for listening. Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final, there are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the KissFAQ message board and discuss the topic we broadcast today. Don't forget to rate us on iTunes, Spreaker, or wherever you've listened to the show. We hope you'll join us again.